Oh, hey, look who's coming to the stream. Were you wondering when I was going to get here? I'm so excited to see you. Let me know where you're joining us from. This show is actually interactive, so just type a comment in the chat box there. Let me know where you're joining us from. I can see that I've got people live, but I can't see who you are until you actually give me a comment. So join the show. Welcome, everyone. Today, I'm going to be talking about why am I not losing weight on keto? We're live, everyone. Are you losing motivation on keto because you're not losing weight? Do you wonder what you're doing wrong? Well, guess what? Because this episode is going to be for you then. Stick around and learn the top 10 reasons why people don't lose weight on a keto diet. So welcome everyone, Keto Chat Live. I'm your host, Carol Freeman. I have a master's degree in nutrition and clinical health psychology. Sounds fancy, I know. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I'm also a board certified ketogenic nutrition specialist as well. I specialize in helping women 40 plus follow a keto diet for sustainable weight loss. So I'm really glad you're here. We've got Lynn from New York joining us as well. Welcome, Lynn. Glad you're here. I got to do the thing my lawyer wants me to do. Medical disclaimer: this show is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice nor intended to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure any condition whatsoever. If you have any questions, concerns related to your specific medical conditions, please seek out a qualified functional medicine specialist. Get the care that you need, everyone. All right, welcome, everyone. I've got a quiz for our viewers to get, again, this interactive show, so I'd love you all participating. Here's a quiz. Is it more likely that people trying to lose weight on keto eat too much protein or too little protein? So weigh in your vote on this one. Just type in too much or too little in the comments, whichever one that you think is most likely the reason why people are not losing weight on keto. Thank you all for joining again. Join the show. Tell me where you're joining from. Oh, you know what? I have a note here for myself. And so this is not a make it so reference. I was going through a transcript of one of my last shows, and I started every other sentence with and so. I made myself a note to try not to say that as much. All right. We're getting some weigh-ins here. Cheryl is saying too much protein. Lynn is saying little. So too little. I'm guessing too little protein. Okay, we got one from each side there. Keep your guesses going. I'll reveal that here in our teaching segment. So I just said so. All right. I need to like put this on my forehead. Don't say and or so. That didn't work. It didn't stick. I guess too much makeup on my forehead. It didn't stick. So Christine. Oh my gosh. Hi, Christine. Struggling, too much protein because it spikes insulin. And Lynn saying, oh yeah, too little protein. So we've got 2 for too much and 1 for too little. You guys stay hang tight. I'm glad you're here today because I'm going to give you the top 10 reasons why people are not losing keto, and one of them is the protein topic. So you're gonna love it. And okay, so glad you guys are here. Keep the comments going. If you'd like to, if you're watching us on Facebook, you can give us an award that would help support the show. And on YouTube, you can do the super chat feature. If you see that there, that supports the show as well too. So thanks for being here. And so up next, just a little personal check-in. What's going on in my life? I just finished a complete, and again, I've got a note here to myself to try not to start my sentences with and or so, but because I'm saying that so many, it's going to be a lot in the transcript anyways. If you read the blog, we actually include a full transcript of the show afterwards when we publish it on my website. That gives you the opportunity that if you can't listen or watch, you can actually read it as well. I'm being very conscientious not to say so many and so's. All right. Let's see if I maybe actually just substitute a different word, but hopefully not. This is actually a good speaking skill. Anyone here ever gone to Toastmasters? I think this is one of the things they teach you, not to use filler words. And see, I still do it. I can't just end a sentence. I've got to have an and in there. I have one run-on sentence this entire blog post podcast. So there was a so. Oh my gosh, I'm so conscientious of this. All right. I see Christine saying, also heard something about non-organic meats containing too much omega-6. Well, I'll give you right up top, Christine. That is not one of the top 10 reasons why people don't lose weight on keto. If and it's it, it's actually a fake news that non-organic meats contain too much omega-6. Most meat is so they say that like grass-fed beef has omega-3 and it's really high in it. It actually is not that high a source of omega-3. If you want to get omega-3, fish is going to be your best source of that. Meat isn't really a good source of omega-3 regardless of how it's grown. So there was all right. Personal check-in. That's where I was going next. Keep commenting. The quiz we've got going on right now is, do you think one of the reasons why people don't lose weight on keto is they're eating too much protein or too little protein? People are messaging me, so it's getting me distracted. Oh, that's not anything I need to pay attention right now. Okay, pay attention, everyone. Glad you're here. I just finished 7-week sprint. I just dove into updating my core program. So again, I specialize in working with women 40 plus in maximizing weight loss on keto and also being able to stick with that and keep the weight off. And I have a core program that my clients all go through. And I just spent the last 7 weekends. So not only working my full time supporting my clients during the week, but I gave up all of my weekends the last 7 weeks to completely overhaul my program. And I love it. It's great. It's fantastic. We just had a cohort of about 12 people that went through the whole thing. They're raving. So all the content is completely updated. And also, it's on a brand new platform, which everyone's loving as well. It's this really cool platform that has a lot of gamification in it. So it makes it really fun to go through the modules. It makes more people get through all of the content. And it's really rewarding to go through it as well. So that is part what I've been up to. So I just finished the 7 weeks sprint, giving up on my weekends. And it's done. It's finally done, everyone. It's so great. And still gonna do it. What I am going to take as a rest, I'm going to Mexico for an entire week. My friend is down there. She's celebrating 5 years survival of pancreatic cancer. So proud of her. She's fought for her life. And I'm going to go spend a week down there with her. It's going to be my rest period. And so this is something, if you get my weekly newsletter, I wrote about this, it came out this morning. The concept of sprinting and resting can be really powerful for getting things done in your life, but just having overall goals. And also it's something that's really effective with keto dieting as well. So we can get burnt out from feeling like we can never ever do something. And so for some people, having a very specific sprint time, I found about 6 weeks ends up being a perfect amount of time that people can dedicate to a strict protocol. Then they take a little bit of a rest. Now, rest doesn't mean that you just go and eat whatever. It's also strategic. And then you come back and you do another specific concentrated sprint again. And that's what I did with my content creation. I spent the last 7 weeks sprinting, working my butt off, and giving up all my extra time for that, knowing I was going to take a break. I had it perfectly planned out. Now, it's not like I'm going to take a break forever and I'm just never going to go back to work. I have a week planned. And then when I get back, the next step actually is going to be updating the content for our long-term membership, our Keto Lifestyle crew. Lots of fun stuff coming with that as well, which I'm really excited about. So that's my update is I'm going to Mexico next week. I earned it. I worked hard. And that's something I bring to my clients as well, is that when you've worked really hard, you need to find non-food rewards for yourself for all your hard work. We're so used to, oh, I've been so good on my diet. I deserve a treat or reward. And that treat or reward is always just food. Give yourself something else that's not a food reward, and you're going to do so much better. Now, I've got a news segment up next, an article that just came out. It hit my inbox on, I think, Tuesday of this week. Brand new article. And then after that, I'm going to go into the 10 reasons why people don't lose weight on keto, the top 10 reasons why. All right, so I'm going to share this article in the chat, and you'll be able to see this. Now, it is a fancy, real medical article. Facebook doesn't really like that, so they may not show it to anybody on Facebook. But this is published in the Journal of American Heart Association. It's real. It was published on September 29th of 2021, and it's looking at ketone esters and cardiac function in type 2 diabetic mice that have heart failure. And short answer, basically, it shows that getting ketones in the bloodstream stream improves the heart function in mice with type 2 diabetes. Did you know that they can make poor little mice have type 2 diabetes? But typically, what they do is that they test it in mice first before they start implementing it in humans. Now, this correlates very strongly with all the cardiologists that I know that promote keto diet. So we've got Dr. Brett Scher he's the medical director of Diet Doctor. He also has his own medical practice. We've got, oh man, there's another medical doctor out there that I don't remember their name, but I've interviewed the nurse that works with him on my past episodes, as well as we've got several other cardiologists. So in the keto conferences that I've gone to, I've asked all the doctors about, does keto help heart failure? Does it help somebody who already has diagnosis of that? Again, this show is for informational purposes only. I'm not telling anyone what to do. We're just looking at specific research here. And what I've heard clinically from other doctors and cardiologists that do this work is that a keto diet, low carb keto diet, is part of the protocol that they have that helps reverse that. So here is a piece of research that actually looks at that and shows that moderate elevation of ketone levels, and this was via supplementation, enhances mitochondrial biogenesis. So what that means, mitochondria are the little energy factories inside of all of our cells. And what they found was that getting ketones in the bloodstream of these little mice, that it actually increased the number of energy cells within the cells. And that increased the amount of oxygen that was able to get to the heart as well. And this was with type 2 diabetes. So even when these mice have a specific medical condition, ketones in the bloodstream confer medical benefits. So that's a fun little research article that I just wanted to share with you all. Who's ready to hear the top 10 reasons why people don't lose weight on a keto diet? So first up, I'm actually going to answer that question. We had a quiz going. I asked for you all to vote. Do you think it's more likely that people are eating too much protein or too little protein that keeps them from losing weight on keto? And it turns out here is one of the biggest myths that's out there. Oh, there's so many myths out there, but this is one of the biggest ones, is that people think that if you eat too much protein, it stops you from losing weight. It turns out that's not true. And more likely people are under eating protein that is stalling their weight loss than overeating. This is one of the major updates to my current program, and it's something that I've been coaching my clients on for the last few years, is that adequate protein is not only good, it's non-negotiable. And more is typically better for most of my clients for weight loss. Why is that? Well, for one, the more protein you eat, the more it revs up your metabolism. So digesting protein actually is very metabolically intense, meaning it burns a lot of calories just to digest and process protein. And it turns out that protein does not elevate blood sugar. This is a lie and a myth that we've been told for a long time. It's not true. Too much protein does not turn into sugar. It does not spike insulin. Insulin is needed to process protein, but protein does not spike your insulin. So, number one reason that people are not losing weight on keto, well, these are not in any specific order, but this probably is number one. People are not eating enough protein. So I've got updated protocol in my newest version of my program for my clients. And also I'm often coaching people to eat even more. So if weight loss starts to stall, more protein is often the first line of defense so that's a surprise for some of you on here, I know. Number two reason that people don't lose weight on keto is that they're drinking their calories. Now, when we eat real whole food, our body has really good sensors that tell us when we've had enough of certain things. But when they're liquid calories, it bypasses all of that. And so this is related to, it can be several things, right? So too much cream in your coffee. will make you gain weight. It'll stop you from losing weight, and it'll also make you start gaining weight. Things like bulletproof coffee, that is a lie that we were sold a while ago, that you should put lots of cream and butter and coconut oil in your coffee and drink, sometimes people call it fatty coffee. This confers no satiety. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I just drink it and I'm not hungry and I can skip breakfast. Guess what? You're drinking 400 calories in a cup. You're not skipping breakfast. You're actually just drinking breakfast with very little nutrients in it. So something like a fatty coffee or bulletproof coffee, or even coffee with half a cup of cream in it, you're getting about 400 calories and almost no vitamins or minerals. As opposed to, let's imagine you had 3-egg omelet with some veggies, cheese on it. You're going to get a ton of vitamins and minerals in that for about the same amount of calories. So which is really doing you more favors? The problem is that when you drink these fatty coffees, because it doesn't register any satiety, it's just empty calories. It's kind of like instead of having a soda for breakfast, you just had 400 calorie coffee for breakfast. So it really doesn't register as satiety, and that will stall people's weight loss, and you can actually start to gain weight by this. So number 3 reason that people stop losing weight on keto is chronic calorie restriction. Now, I found that if people are cutting calories, and their body won't even burn more than what their basal metabolic rate is. This might be people that have done like HCG diets a lot of times, or they're, used to eating only 800 calorie diets in the past to be able to lose. Their metabolic rate has adjusted to that and slowed down so much that they'd have to eat almost nothing in order to actually lose weight. And so for these people, we're going to do things like increasing their protein intake so we can boost that metabolism. We actually want to make sure that we're tracking accurately what they're eating, because sometimes people will think that they're hardly eating anything, but we actually, so one of our other items is actually tracking. Little spoiler alert there. But sometimes people think that they are eating very little when they are actually eating a lot more than they think they are. So that's one of the other points here we're talking about. But one of the things that I'll look at with my clients is that we'll look at their basal metabolic rate after they've been tracking accurately, and we'll figure out what the next steps are. Sometimes people need just to boost their protein. That's enough. Sometimes increasing the number of times they're eating a day is enough to boost their metabolism. Sometimes we've got to do some other measures to boost things back up. So that's one of the reasons. It's not the top, even though I put it as number 3 on the list, it's not the top 3. It's probably maybe number 9 or 10 ranking of all these that I'm going to go over for you today. So, all right, as I go through these, tell me which ones are the ones that are surprising to you. I know for some of you, the number 1, which is not eating enough protein, is a surprise based on the answers to the quiz, but let me know which of these other ones might be the culprit of what's holding you back. So number 4 reason, top 10 reasons that people don't lose weight on keto, is that they're using sweeteners. Dun, dun, dun. So this includes just adding, this doesn't have to be real sugar. This could be artificial sweeteners as well, or natural no-calorie sweeteners like stevia, monk fruit, and allulose. The reason is that for some people, the body thinks it's sugar and it acts just like that. The other reason is that anytime you have anything sweet, you will eat more of that than you would if it wasn't sweetened. Sweetened. So for example, including desserts, including fat bombs. Are people still doing fat bombs out there? Any kind of recipes that have sweeteners, or putting sweetener in your beverages. You will always consume more than if there's no sweetener there. And if you're consuming more, that's going to halt your weight loss. It can actually lead to gaining weight. So sweeteners, for my clients, I have them do a sprint. 6 weeks of no sweeteners will actually make you no longer crave sweet. It helps you naturally eat a lot less and makes the scale start moving for you. So that's number 4, is including sweeteners in your keto weight loss plan. Number 5 reason that people are not losing weight on keto is they're trying to include too many recipes. Is this a surprise for some of you? The multiple reasons. So every one of these has multiple reasons why they are pitfalls on a keto diet. Now, yes, we have an amazing array of wonderful, delicious keto cookbooks out there. We do not have any shortage of keto cookbooks out there. So we used to be told that, well, keto's unsustainable because the food doesn't taste good. That's no longer an issue. We've got plenty of tasty keto foods out there. The problem with trying to include a lot of recipes in the very beginning is multiple. Now, one is it becomes really hard to figure out how to assess your macros with trying to follow recipes. You've got to put all of that into some kind of a tracker. It takes a lot of time. It's cumbersome. And then you come up with some numbers that you're like, okay, so how does this fit into the rest of my day now? You're kind of trapped. And another thing is that when you make recipes, the food is tastier and you will eat more of it than if it was just a simple dish. So if you had a steak and broccoli and butter, you're going to eat that meal, assuming you like broccoli. Okay, substitute some other vegetable if you don't like broccoli, but you're going to eat that. It's going to taste good and you're going to eat an amount that's in alignment with normalizing your body weight. But if you make a keto lasagna, it's going to be so good. You're going to want to eat a lot more of it, a lot more calories than you would have if it was just a simple meal of steak, broccoli, and butter. The more complex the flavors on our palate, the more we are wired to consume that. So keeping it really simple in the beginning is one of the strategies in order to lose weight. Keto recipes taste delicious. You eat tons of them. So we fall in this trap thinking that, well, if it's keto-friendly foods, we can eat as much as we want. They're free foods as long as they're keto-friendly. That is not the case. So one of the pitfalls, again, one of the top 10 reasons why people are not losing weight on keto is because they are trying to include recipes. So we do a sprint of 6 weeks with no recipes. It's freeing. It saves you a lot of time. You can eat a lot less without actually having to try to limit your appetite. All right, number 6 reason why people don't lose weight on keto is they're trying to include all these quote unquote keto products that they see out in the grocery stores. We are inundated. There's some, depending on the store, there's a whole aisle of keto friendly foods out there now. Well, this is a problem for multiple reasons. One, most of these products are not actually keto friendly. Way too many carbs. Look at the total carb count. And next time you will see a keto product in the grocery store, go straight to the nutrition label and look at the total carbs. There's your truth right there. Don't fall for the net carb BS. That's a lie. Look at the total carbs. You're going to get your answer of whether it's keto friendly or not, just looking at that. And the other problem with these keto friendly products, so not only are they not keto friendly, they're hyper palatable. They're sweet. They've got fat in there. Whenever our taste buds encounter something that's sweet and fat together, we are programmed to eat as much as possible. One of the beauty of keto, doing keto the correct way, is that it actually reduces your appetite. But all these keto products have come on the market, unfortunately, and they bypass that. They hijack our brain, they hijack our appetites, and we will eat them until the bag is gone. So we're not actually even doing ourselves any favor over buying the traditional version of that snack food and getting the keto version, because we're just going to overeat either one of them. You might eat slightly less of the keto version, but if you overeat it, you're not losing weight. You're not doing yourselves any favor. So don't fall for the trap. One of my peer support coaches, Penny, calls this the keto washing of foods, just putting that label keto on it. Here's another fun fact for you. There is no legal definition of keto. Anyone can put the word keto or keto friendly on anything out there in the world. Nobody is stopping them. There's no regulations. We've got at least 4 different companies that will put a keto certified label on the product as well. But don't fall for this as well, because every single one of those companies has totally different parameters of what they will say something is keto. So that just shows you that there's no one thing to be able to say that it's keto if all these 4 companies came up with different rules about what's keto. You literally, what if I told you something had 4 net carbs per serving? Would you say, oh yeah, that's keto? What if I even told you it had 4 total carbs per serving? Would you think that was keto friendly? What if I told you that item is pure sugar? A literal bag of sugar, a serving size of 1 teaspoon, that's 4 grams of carbs, right? Logically, you know sugar is not keto friendly, pure sugar. This is the trap we can fall into when we're looking at these labels on things, is that it doesn't tell the whole picture. pure sugar is not keto friendly. Nobody would buy a bag of sugar, but you legally could put that on there and say it was keto friendly. It's only 4 net carbs per serving. Okay, the silliness. I love it. Okay, so reason number 7, is that the right? Yeah, reason number 7, that the top 10 reasons why people are not losing weight on keto is they're including nuts and seeds in their weight loss attempts. Now, a lot of people think, well, but nuts they're healthy fats. They're really healthy fats. How can that be bad for me? There's nothing wrong with the fats in nuts and seeds, but they're really high in carbohydrates. This is the thing that we miss, right? We've labeled certain foods as health foods, and so, well, almonds are just healthy fats. Did you know that just 1 ounce, like amount of almonds that would cover the palm of my hand and not even a big layer, that's 7 grams of carbs right there. And if you're trying to stick to 20 or less per day, just 7, I don't know, 5 or 7 little almonds, that's going to add up really quickly. So they're really high in carbs and fat. And what did I just say about the combination of carbs and fat together? Our brains are wired to overeat that. A lot of people beat themselves up about, like, why can I just not have 1 serving of them? If there's peanut butter in the house, it calls my name. That's true for me too. I can't have that in my house because I want to eat the whole jar of it. Our brain is wired to do that. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is just doing what it's wired. We've taken something that in nature, think about how nuts and seeds grow. And if you don't know how they grow, think about at Christmas time. Sometimes you'll see those bags of whole nuts that are still in their shell. I know that when I went to my grandparents' house around the holidays, they would always have a bowl of those. And on the next to the Davenport, they had unshelled nuts with the whole little set. You had to crack it yourself and use a little picker to dig it out. And I would try as a kid, and I would crack one open and eat it. And I was like, okay, first of all, it didn't taste that great. And that was a lot of work. So if you want to include nuts and seeds in your house, they should be in the shell like that, where you have to work to get every single one of them out. That's nature's way of limiting us from eating too many of them. But what do we do as humans? We think we're so smart. We just send them to a factory, shell them, we roast them, we salt them, we put some seasonings on them. That's one way. And then we sell them in Costco in 5-pound bags. You've bypassed all of nature's limiting ability for us to overeat them. So again, we're wired to, when things are high in carbs and fat together, we're wired to eat as much as possible. And here we do, we help ourselves at Costco to a 7-pound bag of them, and we eat as much as possible. But what's worse than that is when we take those and we remove the step of needing to chew them, we grind them up and make nut butters out of them. You make it even easier to overeat them. So you're triggering that part of your brain that makes you crave that, want to eat it, not stop, and you don't even need to chew it. You could just swallow it. So nuts and seeds, if you're including those and you're having trouble losing weight, take a break from those. Do a sprint like I have my clients do, where you don't have any nuts or seeds for at least 6 weeks. Okay, number 8 reason why people are not losing weight out of the top 10 reasons is they're not weighing their food, they're not tracking. So no weighing or tracking. I can't tell you, probably almost everybody I've ever worked with before me, they're trying keto on their own. Most of the people that I'm working with, they've tried keto on their own, and almost none of them are actually weighing their food or tracking it. Some of them are tracking, but most of them aren't even weighing it. So for one, when you track your food, research shows over and over again that you will just eat less than if you're not tracking it. The part of the reason for that is that it's kind of a pain in the butt a little bit, is that, okay, I have to stop what I'm doing and I have to pull open an app and I have to record it. There's an extra step in the way. So it makes us think before we will actually just go and grab a handful of this and that and mindlessly eat things. So it puts a pause in there. And sometimes we may decide, I guess I'm not that really hungry. I don't want to take the time to actually put this in my tracker. I'll wait. Also, just having some kind of accountability. So you seeing your own food intake, and especially if you're working with a coach who's seeing your food intake, you will do better. You will eat more in alignment with what your goals are than if you're not tracking or recording anything. Also, it's a reality check. You have no idea how many carbs you're eating, how much protein you're eating, or how many calories you're eating, how much fat you're eating. You have no idea if you're not tracking it. Everybody I've ever worked with that wasn't tracking is extremely surprised at how many carbs are in every single thing that they're eating. Did you know that eggs have carbs in them? Did you know coffee has carbs? These are surprising things that people find out when they start to track, and you get a reality check. And it's a baseline, so I can help people adjust what they're doing by we know where we're starting at. So you have to weigh, you have to track. What else I got on my notes here? You got to the only way if you know if you're getting enough protein is if you're weighing your food and tracking it as well. Again, most people are under eating protein. This slows down metabolism, stalls weight loss. All right, I think that's my notes on that one. So that's number 8. We've got 2 more of the top 10 reasons why people are not losing weight. Is anybody getting any ahas right now about things they may be doing that are causing a stall? Number 9 is people are trying to get their fat in. They're trying to get their fat up. Can't tell you how many Facebook groups I see in this. People fall for this thing where they think, oh, I got to get a certain amount of fat to be in a keto diet. Weight loss keto diet is not about a percentage of anything. I don't know how many macro calculators are out there, but they all give you like this percentage of fat, percentage of protein, percentage of carbs. Guess what? The percentage of fat, the amount of grams of fat that you eat, has no relation to how quickly you will lose weight. You can have 0% fat diet and be on a keto diet. Now, if you're doing a medical therapeutic diet for any reason besides weight loss, that's a whole other thing. And that's going to be, your specialist that you're working with about what you need to eat. You're not trying to lose weight. So you need fat to burn. You need that fat to go in your mouth. But if we're losing weight, we have fat that we're burning on our body. That's the fat that we're burning. We don't need to eat any percentage of fat at all. Now, I coach my clients to add fat in a way that we're actually using it based on satiety, and not because we're drinking it, but we're actually using it in combination with a real meal. So a keto diet for weight loss has nothing to do with percentages of fat. You do not have to eat a certain number of grams of fat per day to lose weight. So that's number 9. And number 10 top 10 reasons why people are not losing weight on keto. And again, people get frustrated. They don't see the scale going down. Number 10, this is the big one. I saved it for the last for a reason, is that they don't have any continuity of support. They don't have any group support. Now, this is extremely important for a lot of reasons. So research shows that you will gain the weight back after you lose it, unless you get the right things for support. So our bodies, this is the wake-up call for everyone, okay? Nobody likes to hear this, but it's absolute truth, is that our bodies are hardwired to regain any weight we lose and more. Okay, wake-up call. I want everybody to hear this. So give me a like a shock face in the comments if this is like blowing your mind right now. Our bodies are hardwired to regain the weight. So you have to have support long term in order to keep it off. You're fooling yourself if you think that you will be the one that won't gain the weight back, right? So our bodies are hardwired. Research shows that what happens is that we'll maximize our weight loss somewhere around 6 months, then things start to stall, and then our body starts to regain the weight. What happens is, because our body so badly wants to gain that weight again, our portion sizes will start to increase. We'll stop tracking a little bit. We'll start snacking a little bit more, like a little handful of this or that. We'll bring in some more desserts and some more recipes. And then we're baffled as to why our cheat days increase. A little bit of carb here and there, a little bit of carb there. Carb creep. And we swear we're eating the same. Why am I not losing anymore? What's going on? But the truth is, your body's working against you. It's tricking you into regaining the weight. So what research shows that we need, so there's a couple of reasons why continuity of group support is essential for long-term results. So one thing, there's 3 things that research shows. So there's a research paper out there that looks at 29 meta-analyses of long-term weight loss strategies. And they found that they need 3 things. People that are successful at keeping the weight off long-term need 3 things. One is you've got to do the tracking and weighing. You've got to you have to have body measurements. So you've got to have a reality check and measure your body. And so when things start to turn back around, you actually have to have that reality check sooner, so you can make small little incremental changes rather than trying to turn the whole ship around after you've regained all the weight. Number two is that you have to have a weekly meeting. So what all of the things had in common of people losing weight for the long term is that they had weekly meeting where they're seeing other people. So we're going to put a pin in that for a moment because I'm going to talk about why the weekly meetings are so powerful. And it's not just go to a meeting. It's there's a lot of reasons and it's really, really powerful. So we'll put a pin in that and I'm going to come back to that. But number three thing you need is just ongoing education and training. And so you need to understand these things about what I'm teaching you today about how the brain tries to trick you and tries to regain the weight. That's education is one piece of it. But that was what they found in all those 29 long-term weight loss studies that worked, where people had ongoing education. And all of this needed to be a program that lasted a year or longer for people to be able to succeed. So there's the three things that you need and why this continuity of support and the group support specifically is so essential for long-term results for people. So I'm going back to that pin now about why the group thing is so important. How many people hate group meetings? I hated group meetings. I used to go to Weight Watchers meetings, and I remember I'd go in and the ladies in there would do their weigh in and then they would talk about how they could cheat now. And I hated that. It was like so demotivating. So I always thought meetings were garbage, but I've since learned that for my successful clients. So I've got some ladies now that have been with me for more than a year. They've got that continuity of support. They've lost over 70 pounds in a year, and they're sticking with their keto lifestyle because they have this continuity of support and they're getting this mirror neuron activation. Okay, so let's talk about more in detail of why this group thing is so important. So we have mirror neurons in our brain. These make us act like the people that we hang out with. So if you've ever been to a Mexican restaurant, you're trying to stick with your keto lifestyle and there's the chips on the table and everybody's having them and you find that your arm just keeps trying to go towards it and you're like, why am I doing that? I don't want to eat those. And your arm just keeps going towards the chips and you're like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I control this? Because the mirror neurons in your brain go straight to your muscles and they see what other humans are doing and they make you copy it. So if you live in a household like most of us do, where other people are not keto and you lose your group support, if you don't have that people that you hang out with that do have keto habits that are successful, your brain will start to conform with the people there. If you have, so this is essential for your long-term results. This is essential if you want to lose weight, if all the rest of your friends are not keto. So you need to find a group of people that are successful, that have the habits that you have so that your mirror neurons copy them and they don't copy your family and friends. And so this is one of the reasons why that's so powerful too. So in the beginning of the work that I was doing, I was like, why are the ladies that come on these group meetings must be just really engaged in the process. But I've since studied a lot from Dr. Joan Ifland that the mirror neurons are a big part of what is being activated there. And so this is why in all the long-term weight loss studies that they've done, they found that you've got to have some kind of a meeting where you're hanging out with other people. It also makes you feel like you belong, like you're important, you belong to this group of people. It's really hard to make any kind of behavior change at all if you feel like you're the weirdo in the world, that you're the only one doing this. So you belong. The mirror neurons get activated, you copy the behavior. I call it a subconscious willpower battery. You recharge that by being with those other people. So Lynn's saying, you're telling my story. Yes, I've been doing this work long enough. I know the story. I know exactly what happens. And that's part of why I'm sharing this on my podcast here too. So again, just to recap super quickly what the top 10 reasons are that people are not losing weight, but these can also be the things that make people regain after they've already lost some weight as well. So number one was not eating enough protein. Number two, you're drinking your calories, especially things like fatty coffees or too much cream in your coffee. Number three was metabolic adaptation, where you've been chronically reducing your calories and doing really low calorie diets for too long. Number four is including sweeteners in your weight loss strategy because it just makes you eat more. Trying to include recipes as well also encourage you to overeat. Number six is trying all these keto products that are on the market that are tasty and not really keto and hyper palatable and just make you overeat. Trying to include nuts and seeds during your weight loss phases. Again, so easy to overeat, so delicious. Our brain is wired to eat as much as possible of those. So you're just setting yourself up for a hard time if you're including those right now. Not weighing and tracking your food. Basically, you're not getting a reality check. That's number 8. 8, is that number 8? What's Roman numerals? 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. 8. Did I skip one? Yeah. Nuts and seeds, not weighing and tracking your food. Number 9 is trying to get a certain percentage of fat into your diet. And number 10 was the ongoing continuity, group support, activating those mirror neurons, hanging out and copying the behavior of other people that you want the habits of, right? So have you ever heard the phrase that your income is the average of your 5 closest friends? Same kind of concept. Your eating habits are the average of your 5 closest friends as well. So make your closest friends successful keto people, and you're going to have a lot more ability to stick with things. So, all right. That wraps up this episode. And next week, I have 2 episodes, or actually, in 2 weeks. So I'm going to Mexico next week. 2 weeks, we have 2 episodes for you. One of them is going to be by popular demand. I'm going to have Sally Cade Norton. So she is an oxalate specialist. And I look back at all of my other keto interviews on my YouTube channel. Sally's one of the top ones that we keep getting comments on. And so I asked her to come back so that we could answer your questions. She's got a book coming out called Toxic Superfoods. And we're going to talk about some of the myths of these plant foods that we've been told that are like really, really healthy for us that cause a lot of health problems. So that's going to be on March 9th, 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 Central, 6 Eastern. So comment here if you want to get a notification for that. And then I've got another episode coming later that week that I'll tell you about after that one. So again, today we talked about the top 10 reasons why people don't lose weight on keto, lose their motivation, start to regain the weight. So if you're struggling on keto, I'm here to help. Visit my website, ketocarol.com. Let me put my website up here on there for you, ketocarol.com. Carol has an E on the end. It's the very fancy French spelling. Support the show. If you enjoyed this, share it with a friend. Leave us a review, whatever platform you're listening to this on, podcast platform. Leave us a review. That really helps the show grow. It gets the word out to more people. Because remember, help us grow and we'll help you shrink. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye now.